Hey friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're diving into one of my favorite Southern classics, and that's homemade sweet potato pie. It's rich, it's creamy, it's perfectly spiced, and brings all the cozy fall flavors to your kitchen. Whether you're baking for the holidays or just craving a slice of comfort, this recipe is sure to become one of your favorite go-tos. Now, this recipe is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com, where it has all the ingredients and the instructions on how to bake this pie. So, I'm going to get started by using two medium sized sweet potatoes. And you don't want to get any that are too big. You want to get like a nice medium size sweet potatoes. And I'm going to be baking these for like about an hour. So you want them to be able to cook thoroughly through. So what I am doing is just brushing these sweet potatoes off before I add them to the skillet. Now you can use a cookie sheet. I'm also using a cast iron skillet for this, but I am basically just going to add these potatoes in there. I'm going to pierce them with this big old fork that I got. And once I pierce them on each side, I'm going to bake them in the oven for about 1 hour at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And basically what I'm doing is roasting the sweet potato so it gets like a nice rich flavor to the pie itself. Now, the next thing for me to do while the potatoes are roasting in the oven is to get the rest of my ingredients together. This makes the process like so much easier. So, what I have right here on the screen is some brown sugar, some granulated sugar, which is the white sugar. I also have some eggs, some condensed milk, vanilla, cinnamon, and nutmeg, as well as some salt. So what I am doing is adding each one of those ingredients into this bowl, basically the dry ingredients. So again, the white sugar, the brown sugar, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, and the salt. I'm also cracking one egg that I'm going to mix and put to the side. And I'm going to prep my pie crust. And again, this is the Pillsbury pie crust or the deep dish. And for the pie crust, I'm just going to follow the directions that's on the back of the package. And this is how it looks after I've baked it for 10 minutes. So once the sweet potatoes are done roasting, I'm going to take them out the oven and I'm going to peel the skin off so I can put that pulp into a bowl. For this recipe, I'm using my KitchenAid mixer. So you can do this with a standing mixer or you can do it with like a hand mixer. But what you want to do is get the pulp out of that sweet potato and set that aside so that you can mix it up later for the pie filling. And I've let these sweet potatoes sit aside for like about 15 minutes and they were still piping hot. You can see the steam coming off of the potatoes. So I'm burning my fingers and I'm doing my best to pull this the skin off so I can get that pulp inside the bowl. Now, even though I'm using two sweet potatoes, it's actually going to be the right amount of pulp once I put this all in the bowl and put like all the other ingredients into this bowl to make that filling. And as you saw earlier, this will be going into a deep dish pie crust. However, if you have like the regular pie crust, this would be enough for two of those. So with my KitchenAid standing mixer, I'm going to be using the lowest speed when it's basically stirring all the ingredients together. In between me putting the ingredients in there, I'm going to be using a spatula to scrape down the bowl. So I'm using 1 stick of softened butter. If your butter is hardened, you can put it in the microwave for like 1 minute, but at the power of like 50%, and that will soften your butter quickly too. So I'm adding again that sugar, the white sugar, the brown sugar, as well as the cinnamon and nutmeg and salt. So I had all that in the bowl and I'm just throwing it into the standing mixer. I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and I'm going to use 1 can, 8 ounces of sweetened condensed milk. This gives it a really nice rich flavor. So I'm going to use a spatula to pour that in there. And again, all of the ingredients and the quantity is on my website at plussizeinchicago.com. Just look up sweet potato pie, and this is the recipe that you'll see that has all the instructions to it. So after I've added the sweetened condensed milk, I'm going to stir all this together in the standing mixer. And the last ingredient that I need to add is that one egg. And the reason why I add the egg last is because I'm tasting this, to make sure that everything is sweetened and has the right amount of flavoring to it. Now the egg again was the last thing that I'm going to stir in here. Once that's been added, I'm going to speed up the mixer like I want to say that's like the setting of 3, just to make it mix a little bit faster and beat really good before pouring it into the pie pan. So one of the things that I like to do is add a little bit of cinnamon onto the bottom of the pie pan. I just feel like it gives it an extra, spice seasoning to to the sweet potato pie. This is definitely optional. You don't have to do it, but I just like adding the cinnamon to it. So once I've added the filling, I'm going to bake this pie for 1 hour at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if the pie is still like a little bit jiggly in the middle, you want to bake it for like maybe another 10 to 20 minutes, as long as that crust is not too brown, as well as the pie filling itself. And then once it's done, you're going to take it out. You're going to let that pie sit for at least 1 to 2 hours before slicing into it, because you want to have nice even slices. If you want to, you can also put this in the refrigerator once it's been cooled off to help it get that consistency. So friends, I hope you like what I cooked in the kitchen today. If you are a follower of any of my accounts, thank you so much for coming back. If you have not followed me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, or Facebook, click that follow or subscribe button. And also please share this with your friends and family. I'll see you guys next time.